CME Group launched Micro E-mini Futures Contracts. Discover how a smaller Micro E-mini Futures contract opens the world to greater trading possibilities.
Welcome to Market Movers. I'm Jim Uriel with Scott Martin.
Hi, Jim.
Okay, so Scott, we have a tentative OPEC meeting on June 25th and 26th. I say tentative because they've also knocked around some other dates they could potentially switch it. Let's say it's those dates. Do you think they're going to continue with production cuts? Do you think they're going to jawbone the price higher? Do they have the power to?
Well, I mean, they're going to try, Jim. I don't know if it's going to work effectively, but look, I mean, oil has pulled back, crude has pulled back quite a bit since we had those attacks on the tankers. I believe that's probably gotten OPEC's attention a little bit because we did have a nice pop only to retrace that whole move. So to me, yeah, there's going to be jawboning. There's probably going to be production cuts in light of trying to push crude higher.
Okay, the beginning of this month, prior for the last, let's call it year, crude was trading as a risk asset along with stocks. It seemed to break about 3 weeks ago. Is that a global growth story and stocks are going higher on rates?
It's global growth, yeah, going higher on rates. I think also, Jim, it's a factor of the U.S. dollar, which had been pretty strong along that way too. So to me, there's a lot of other things going on in that crude space that should worry OPEC, which probably steps up their rhetoric.
Makes sense. Before we dive into our trade discussion, I'd like to point out these trades are examples, not trades or recommendations. Both these trades are off the August contract, which is currently trading about 52.22. Scott?
Yeah, Jim. So we talked about kind of the fallout after the tanker attacks and just how crude has kind of behaved. I personally think, in looking at some of the moving oscillators, let's say if I could say that on television here on Market Movers, that some of those things are starting to indicate that a crude bottom has happened effectively. And so therefore, I think we're just going to start seeing some lift, let's say, of crude into the OPEC meeting, as you mentioned, whenever that may be, whenever they agree on a time in the chart or in the calendar rather. So to me specifically, Jim, I think there's an interesting example out there. Looking at buying the week 1 July 52 half, 55 even call spread for about 97 ticks. This trade risks $970 to make a potential 1530. It expires July 5th. It has Augie futures as the underlying. Just given the fact that if you look at that recent high, say in crude, about 55 or so, I believe that's where crude's going to kind of swell up to in light of what I believe OPEC's going to do finally whenever they make that meeting.
Okay. I don't mind that trade at all. I think we're in a consolidation period over the last couple of weeks. There are some fundamentals to back that up. The consolidation period we're in, we came into it from up to down. It always seems to me that we usually resolve ourselves lower. So my trade is almost purely technical. If I have to go fundamental with it, I would say, perhaps they disappoint at the meeting. But I'm also looking at that July 5th expiry. So it encompasses 2 of the potential days they've talked about.
Which is fair.
Right. So as an example, I'm buying the week 1 July 47.50 put spread for 56 ticks. It's cheaper than yours because the top strike is a little further away. It risks 560 to make a potential 1940.
Yeah, not too bad. Now, here's the only thing I would tell you. If you look at the chart, I think 50 is a pretty good line in the sand. So to me, if I was to put this on, it would be one that I would probably manage with price because of the fact, or manage with other options, maybe roll them because of the fact, I think 50 is a pretty good line in the sand. So if it trades down near there, I'm not sure this whole thing's going to fill out.
Final question. To get your move higher in crude, do we need to see some pickup in domestic growth numbers, or are they fine the way they are?
It'd be nice to see a pickup in some growth numbers. And 2, I think if we get some maybe positive news ahead of the G20, which is still also coming up as well, you could see some risk assets refire, and therefore I believe that would show up in crude oil.
Makes sense. Thanks for joining us on Market Movers. I'm Jim Uriel, where we are helping to make you a better trader.